insufficient.
We can make the dollar the most attractive currency by continuing to have the rule of law.
You can always print money to do that.
I suppose it would diminish our status as the reserve currency.
Just shut up. There's no expectation of privacy above the in the sky.
So Bitcoin is the solution because you can buy Bitcoin right.
Hello, everybody. Listen to this. Big new update from our brother in the XRP Army Research Consortium, the one and only Smoke Dog, in regard to specifically Wells Fargo, SWIFT, and XRP. This is an update. You're going to want to hear more about this. And let's face it, everybody, SWIFT, constant updates, whether it is their website, whether it is checking out the mainstream media and so on, lots of SWIFT updates. And no, I'm not talking about SWIFT blockchain. Some of you guys think I'm talking about. This has nothing to do with SWIFT blockchain. This is traditional SWIFT, okay? S.W.I.F.T. That one you're thinking of is S.W.I.F.T. So before we jump into this, I just want to point this out. Consider smashing that like. If you're a regular on both of our channels, we hope that you will consider becoming a subscriber, especially with what we're bringing to you. And last but not least, check out this QR code that's actually over above Michael's head. Get yourself some free USDT. At the end of the day, who doesn't like to have some free Tether where you could pair that up with anything or most everything? So let's jump into what we have and why it matters.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. So just a few taps, you can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.
Smoke has this, and basically it's this announcement. Again, not that long ago. It's basically, I think from what I gathered, maybe yesterday. I want to say yesterday. Yeah. So what is it? Well, as it comes across your screen, there's a person that said, for example, this is only just Chainlink. And I think Chainlink is awesome, by the way. And of course, I'll play this little clip at the end, which shout out to Rue Black. I played it on his channel and also my channel, where it shows literally Brad Garlinghouse and Sergey Nazarov were the only two at a Whitehouse briefing, lunch briefing. They're at the very, very end of the table. The only two. There was no other cryptocurrency bigwigs invited, just those two. So again, I do want to recognize Chainlink. I think it's solid. Definitely deserves its flowers. But look at this, because when Smoke responds to certain things, well, he backs it up with the receipts. So originally this argument, if you want to call it one, was stated about the whole thing of, yeah, you know, we have this whole thing of Chainlink and so on. Well, hey, everybody for the most part knows about SWIFT and Chainlink. We've been there and done that. But Smoke is basically like, hey, hold my beer.
It's you, McMuffin. Give me the bull.
Because the way he looks at it is, Wells Fargo is in fact looking at this area using Ripple. Our technology allows fiat and cryptocurrencies to exist in parallel. This comes directly, of course, from the SWIFT site. The SWIFT site.
Right, Scott.
Okay? Is it just on the mobile version? I think the answer is yes, because when I try to view it on the desktop version, I didn't quite see it. But when I got more into the mobile, guess what? Smoke is right. Here is what we have. And as we blow this up on the other screen for it's a little bit bigger for you guys, it says specifically, like was mentioned, it says the panel moved towards its conclusion by discussing the blockchain in detail, if banks can leverage this technology and how. Yes, banks can use the ledger model, said an audience member. Why not? But whether they will or not is another matter. Wells Fargo is looking at this area using Ripple, says it right there. As are lots of other banks, stated Skinner, arguing for the blockchain. Quote, you could use the blockchain for mortgages, title deeds as well. Once you have an irrevocable agreement on the blockchain, you have to give up your private key to release it. And then there's this highlight, quote, our technology allows fiat and cryptocurrencies to exist in parallel, added Patrick. And then this last statement, I think this technology is the future, she concluded, although she agreed that there may be a way to go yet with regulatory concerns and decisions on how best use of the blockchain would still be addressed. All right, well, guess what? There's a little bit more about this, and if anything, we're going to cite that. So as we pull this up, again, I want you guys to understand that this all started off with this argument, and I meant to share that at first. He says, I don't see XRP anywhere. It's, he points out the whole thing is SWIFT. And of course, give him credit, because it says one project that we can mention here is Project Calm, which stands for Corporate Actions Lifecycle Management. We've been working in collaboration with Chainlink. A lot of us already know about that. So again, great find from Smoke in that regard. And I think, if anything, we'll get more news about the whole thing of specifically, I'll come back for this, XRP. Because I think after the SEC, and I point this out with Will Fix, I think after the SEC, Michael, fully says we're done with the whole thing with Ripple, and it's a done deal, 100%, not just like, getting announcements from Brad Garlinghouse and so on. Like, it's a fully done things. To see Paul Atkins come out with that, I think would be big. Then from there, I think you will start seeing, whether it's Wells Fargo or some of these other institutions, banks, and so on, say, yeah, you know how we said Ripple before? Well, it's Ripple XRP. I think it's going to open the floodgates, like Monica Long pointed out. And again, great find from our brother in the community, Smoke. Your thoughts in that regard, Michael?
Smoke strikes again. He's always finding the stuff. He's been popping up more and more with these delicious, tasty goodies for us. Yeah, I'm in full agreement. We need to have Mr. Atkins make a statement. And I believe the formal procedure is a panel vote at SEC. And once they have their, I think it's just a majority, not a unanimous is required. Once that official vote is done, whoosh, I hate to say crypto go up, but crypto go up. But yeah, Wells Fargo is really positioning itself quite well, actually. And of course, they would be tied into BOA, Bank of America. So you got that going on. You got the SWIFT network. You got them being big banks. There's a lot to this. Yeah, we are just so close. Just got to wait for that SEC.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable that that's going to happen. I mean, does it happen? Who knows? Maybe by the time of FedWire implementation of ISO 222, does it happen then? Does it happen when Trump hopefully signs off on some of these things by August, as mentioned before, as far as regulations? Is it literally the legislators? We're going to see how it all comes together. But whatever the case be, it seems like all this is a ticking time bomb of some. Well, for the most part, excuse me.
Right.
I want to jump over to this. A lot of you guys have already seen this. So again, if you have, this is not breaking news, where the case be, but a lot of you guys are familiar with Patrick Bet David, and I wanted to, of course, complement the material with this. So what do we have? Well, basically, this comes from Crypto Basic, and as we pull this up, here it is. And it mentions specifically here this. Again, we talked about SWIFT. XRP potential to complement or replace SWIFT. And of course, during that time, on an episode of his widely followed TV program, Valuetainment, in March, Patrick Bet David highlighted the possibility of XRP overtaking the SWIFT network or handling a portion of its value, a development that could massively increase the crypto asset's value. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but basically speaking, Patrick Bet David said specifically in this, excuse me, let's jump further back up. He said that basically he felt as though in speculation, of course, that XRP could reach a value of $100 per token. I have it way higher, and he also acknowledged that as well. Not me, of course, but he acknowledged that some analysts also believe the crypto asset could soar to 1,000 or more, where it fully displaces SWIFT. I mean, Patrick Bet-David, he's quite the entrepreneur to say the least, but that's interesting. Well, what do we have in regard to literally his brief interview? Well, I want to give a shout out to Valuetainment Short Clips, which of course is his platform. Patrick Bet-David talks about this in his short. And if anything, listen to this because you might have missed this. Shout out to all the other platforms that already share this, especially about a month ago. But again, some of you guys, right? You get the news when you get it. Take a look into this. We'll jump back and get some closing comments from Michael Golpe. Here we go.
This is like a digital Fort Knox for digital gold. So
And this is something you believe in?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
And the whole community believes in
Very good. And I made the promise, right?
it. Absolutely.
The CEO of Ripple, Brad, coming out there kind of talking, and people are saying, hey, we ought to look at this. What if the case gets dropped? What if that doesn't happen? Gary Gensler's no longer there. Gary Gensler was not a big fan of Ripple. There's all these videos that we've seen behind closed doors on what's going on. Here's all I'm saying. Just so you know you're watching this, let me confuse you a little bit. I own way more Bitcoin than I do Ripple. I own very little Ripple. I don't want this thing to be an endorsement of Ripple. For whatever I own of Bitcoin, I own 1/10 of it in Ripple, just to make things. Ethereum, I own 3 times Ethereum than I do of Ripple. I'm just looking at it on what direction it's going to go.
You're killing me, Smalls.
That last statement about what Patrick Bet-David stated about, I'm looking at it from the perspective of where it's going to go. I own way more Ethereum and BTC. I'm thinking to myself, where it's going to go, Mr. David, where it's going to go is, in my opinion, innovation has always won in the end. Forget the whole talk of cryptocurrency. Innovation always wins. Hence the .com era. Hence, for example, AOL Time Warner. Again, BTC is like, again, the Pony Express of crypto. And even Ethereum, yeah, they're the original battle-tested, supposedly the highest secure smart contract platform out there, right? I think Stellar's going to take the cake moving forward, and XTC and whatnot. And we also know that apparently with the research, as Smoke pointed out, I did this in another video with Will Fix a few days ago, the XRP can do smart contracts too, as of recently. So for me, it's like, yeah, Patrick Bet-David, come on, man. Like, you're representing who? Your old Wall Street system? If anything, on the thumbnail, this is why you guys saw where it says XRP and the ISOs. They don't want you to have it. Now you understand why we're talking about it. Patrick Bet-David, it kind of seems like a hint of it, if anything, especially with that statement at the end. I really love to hear what you got to state about or say about the whole thing, Michael.
You gave me a juicy one here. I've been following Patrick, gotta be, gosh, it feels like 10 years. So in crypto world, it's maybe 5 years, but I've been following for a real long time. Yeah, I want to say, yeah, at least 5 years, probably 8. Anyway, that's irrelevant. I'm quickly in my head trying to do the math on exactly what he owns, because let's use a value of BTC at 100,000. And if he owns 10%, that means he owns $10,000 worth of XRP. So that means he probably has $30,000 worth of Ethereum. So in a way, it sounds like he's talking in code, or in the sense that if we translate it, what he's actually saying is, I am transitioning from the OG cryptos into the new school cryptos, XRP being the first of them. And let's face it, if you own 10 BTC, I don't know what Patrick holds. I'm not going to ask him. That's his business. But it sounds like he's talking to all the Bitcoin who are, all the Bitcoin holders who aren't maxis, and saying, hey guys, put this on your radar. That's because Patrick has always been someone who's been ahead of the curve. Like I said, been watching him for years. And Yeah, I really got that vibe. He's talking to the other investor type entrepreneurs, the small real estate owners who own like 5 houses, rent them out, the mom and pop, so to speak, who are, they have a high net worth. And he's telling them, hey guys, this is the next thing. You can't dump your Bitcoin or else you're going to, lose value on your Bitcoin. So you got to sell slowly. And then when you tie in the fact of, August and November, I got a tendency to want XRP to shoot up already, like everyone else does. But it sounds like when you tie this all together, you got the transition going on. And when they announce dates like the November anticipated thing, it gives you a window to operate from. So, I think I think Patrick's telling people like him, hey guys, it's time to move into XRP.
I would say fair enough. I mean, he's a huge platform. Let's be honest. So, I mean, any honorable mention, even though it's not an endorsement, like you pointed out, I think is a move in the right direction and so on. But again, it just kind of, as you would say in one of our last videos, kind of rubs the rhubarb the wrong way. You know what I mean? So, and we'll just leave it at that. So, anyway, hey guys, do us a solid if you appreciate the material. And again, if you're regular, by all means, you're already on the cusp of doing it anyway. Become a subscriber. And speaking of which, Michael Golpe's platform. He can be followed on YouTube at Michael Golpe, all one word, just how you see it spelled out there. Because why would he misspell his own name anyway? And then on top of that, he could also be followed on X at Michael Golpe. I myself, as you see here, be followed at DPG Maximus, also on X. So saying goes, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. Here's a preview of things to come. Even though this is not in this next video, is an XRP video. We have a huge video coming up in regard to specifically a Jasmy bombshell. You might see another video after this in regards to XRP. But if you're in the Jasmy or you're thinking about getting into it, you don't want to miss that video. So join myself and Michael Golpe for that. And with that also said, I'll give you the closing sign off, Michael.
Well, thank you for watching, everyone. Please hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Help Max out here. Max is awesome. And if you would be so kind, please follow me on my channel or here on YouTube or on X at Michael Golpe. And thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate it. And thank you, Max. You're awesome. You're a superstar, brother.
Well, thanks, brother. I'm not quite a superstar, but I do appreciate it.
You are to me.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
The U.S. won the internet, and the U.S. should win crypto. So thank you for your leadership on this.
Thank you both very much. High IQ individuals around this table. That's what I always say. We need high IQ. So thank you very much. Would anybody like to say anything?
I just want to express my deep gratitude for the seriousness with which you're approaching our industry and how you're actually helping guide it in the right direction. I've worked with many central banks in other countries, and when I was working there, I was wondering why I, as an American citizen, can't help the United States financial system reach this higher level that the world is on course towards generally. Right. And so I'm very grateful that finally there's been a new level of kind of common sense and adoption of these ideas. Me and the other people in this room do believe that the crypto, blockchain, Web3 infrastructure is the next iteration of the financial system. And I think that the U.S. should have its leadership position continue in that new financial system. And I'm very, very happy to see people like David Sachs, Secretary Bessent, Secretary Lutnick taking this very seriously with their time, and very grateful to them too. So I'm just overjoyed to see this. And I think it is a big part of how the U.S. can continue its role in the global financial system. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I thought it was very important that we stay in the front of this one. This is a big one. And as you know, China is pushing forward and very strongly as usual. But we're way in the lead, as we are in AI and other things, and we want to stay there.